This is ABC.
6 young people are dead tonight and 13 others injured. Their car went out of control on Interstate 65 and crossed over the median into the path of a bus. We'll have details next on 6 News.
And the polls are closed tonight after Election Day in Nicaragua. Advanced planning to ensure a fair election seems to be paying off.
And in our Volunteer Connection report, we'll tell you about some volunteers who help others listen to the newspaper.
It's an uphill Big Ten battle for Bobby Knight's Hoosiers. Scott Hoke has the IU-Michigan State highlights.
And meteorologist Dave James says Mother Nature will open the freezer door once more.
That and more next on 6 News.
I have a horrible sinus headache. There's pounding, there's pressure, there's pain. I want relief.
Today, Linda Clark is trying Tylenol Sinus. It combines maximum strength Tylenol pain reliever with a maximum strength pressure reliever, and it won't make you drowsy.
I feel fabulous. Tylenol Sinus took away the pressure. It took away the pain. It took away the pounding. I like that it's a Tylenol product. I trust that name.
Tylenol Sinus, the strength you need from the name you trust.
Ever notice how commercials get a little louder, a little goofier, and everyone talks a little faster at tax time? Well, Sharp Ford is not going to have a tax sale. We don't sell taxes. We sell Fords, and we sell a lot of them. Right now, we'll be selling more Fords than just about anybody. When you see the selection, when you get your drive-away price on the Ford you want, you'll be happy we had this quiet chat rather than screaming taxes. That's why Sharp is Ford in Indiana.
The WRTV 6 Volunteer Connection, a way you can help make a difference. One day a week, Darlene Ransom volunteers at the Martin Center Clinic. She registers sickle cell patients for treatment. Darlene herself is a victim, but her reasons for volunteering go much deeper than that.
In today's society, we need a lot of peace and joy within each other, and volunteering gives you that.
Make a difference in someone's life. Call the Volunteer Connection.
WRTV 6 Indianapolis, making a difference for Indiana. This is WRTV 6 News at 11 with Greg Todd, Angela Kane, Scott Hoke on sports, and meteorologist David James with weather. Now, live WRTV 6 News at 11.
Good evening, Indiana. State police are trying to learn the names tonight of 6 young people who died in an accident. Their car crashed into a Greyhound bus on Interstate 65 near Southport.
It happened this afternoon, and though the weather was cold, it wasn't the reason for the accident. Deborah Darnell has the story.
The crash left the Mustang badly mangled, and inside the car, firefighters found 6 people, all dead. As some workers removed the bodies, others held up sheets to shield the view from drivers passing by. But at least one driver saw the accident happen as he watched the Mustang's driver apparently lose control.
What it looked like to me was she got her driver's side front wheel off of the pavement, and she panicked and she tried to overcorrect, which sent her back across the 3 lanes of traffic. And then she panicked again, or she overcorrected, and the car just made an abrupt turn and went into a power slide, came back across the southbound lanes and across the median and into the northbound lanes and in front of the Greyhounds.
The eyewitness then ran to the scene.
My wife and I both stopped immediately and checked pulses. We were able to find three of the patients had pulses at the time. And then within a few minutes, we didn't have any pulses at all. And at first, we thought there was only 4 people in the car. And then we found another female patient underneath the 2 back occupants of the car. And then just a few minutes ago, I noticed that they had said there were 6 in the car altogether.
Passengers in the bus also suffered injuries, but reportedly nothing more serious than a broken leg. Afterward, the cleanup caused a backup that went on for several miles in both directions near the Southport exit. But in accidents this bad, cleaning the wreckage often lasts several hours. Deborah Darnell, 6 News.
This weekend's winter storm is responsible for multiple car accidents, but up in Tippecanoe County, water, not snow, is causing problems. Flooding has closed roads from Lafayette to Terre Haute. The Wabash River is up to 10 feet above flood level in some areas, but is expected to begin receding tonight.
Thousands of international observers looked on as Nicaraguans flooded voting polls across their country. Nearly 2 million voters are registered to vote, and the polls are now closed. The choice is between the leftist Sandinista regime in power for 10 years or a U.S.-backed opposition party. Among the onlookers is former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. He and 3,000 other observers were sent to Nicaragua to guarantee a fair election. Both sides say they're confident of victory. The determination of democracy is sweeping the streets of the Soviet Union. Nearly 200,000 people showed their strength in the fight for a democratic government as they marched in Moscow and other cities throughout the communist country. There have been no reports of violence, but riot police reportedly dragged away protesters of one rally that the government called unauthorized. A rally in South Africa drew an estimated 100,000 people. They came out to hear Nelson Mandela speak. Mandela told the crowd he's seeking an end to black-on-black fighting in Natal province. The Zulus of the United Democratic Front have been battling and killing each other for 4 years. Mandela says their battles are hindering the fight against apartheid.
Indianapolis firefighters think arson may be the cause of a weekend fire at the home of imprisoned schoolteacher Fred Sanders. The fire caused $2,000 damage. Investigators say 2 television sets are apparently missing from the home. The former Indianapolis schoolteacher is in prison for the August 1988 shooting death of Indianapolis patrolman Matt Faber. The bankrupt Continental Steel plant in Kokomo is now the target of a group of environmentalists. A group called Kokomo Against Pollution toured the site today with Congressman Jim Johnts in hopes he'll prompt the cleanup process. Part of the site has been placed on the EPA's Superfund list of priorities, but so far nothing has happened. The group claims there are literally tons of hazardous waste, including PCBs, and much of it is contaminating the city's water supply. The EPA begins a survey of the site March 5th.
No smoking is now the rule on practically all U.S. airline flights. As of today, a smoking ban is in effect for all but 28 of 17,000 domestic flights. The change doesn't come as much of a surprise or a problem to some of the people we talked to at the airport.
It really doesn't bother me because I don't smoke. I mean, I used to, and I quit about 5 years ago, so I don't have any really opinion about it.
I have no problem. I work with people who smoke all the time. So, makes no difference.
Some airlines also plan to enforce the ban on flights to Mexico, Canada, and the Caribbean. The Space Shuttle Atlantis may soon get off the ground. The shuttle commission boarded a 4th liftoff early this morning. Just 31 seconds before blastoff, a computer glitch scrubbed the mission. Atlantis is now scheduled for its 5th liftoff attempt in less than 2 hours if all goes as planned. That'll happen at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning.
IU road tripped it up to Michigan, but couldn't pull out a win. Later in sports, we'll hear from Coach Bobby Knight on that Big Ten battle.
But first on 6 News, we'll tell you about some folks helping hundreds of others by simply reading the newspaper.
Lincoln Town Car has something no luxury sedan has had in 38 years. Motor Trend's Car of the Year Award. And now other Lincolns come with something extra. On the V8 Power and Luxury of Lincoln Mark 7, a $1,500 customer cash award. And on Continental, one of the world's most advanced luxury cars, a $1,500 customer cash award. The 1990 Lincolns, we've won our award. See a Lincoln Mercury dealer for yours. Lincoln, what a luxury car should be.
There's no question that a home equity loan has lots of advantages. But you may have lots of questions about your options. If so, get this free, easy-to-understand brochure from your Merchants National Company. Call 1-800-243-EASY, toll-free, anytime. Because nobody makes banking easier than the Merchants National Companies.
The American farmer takes on a lot of tough jobs every day. He does everything he can to produce a good crop. And he does everything in his power to preserve our delicate environment, such as terracing his fields to control runoff and erosion, so that families like his can continue farming for generations to come. Brought to you on behalf of the American farmer by the makers of dual herbicide.
Your Indianapolis Toyota dealers present their biggest ever inventory tax liquidation sale, and they've taken the confusion out of financing with Toyota's almost no-catch deal. 10.9% fixed rate financing for up to 60 months with almost no catch. During your Indianapolis Toyota dealer's inventory tax liquidation sale, save even more with factory-to-dealer incentives on 89s and 90s. So what is the catch? Simple. It all ends very soon. So if you hurry, there's no catch. But only at your Indianapolis Toyota dealers.
You probably haven't heard them, but dozens of volunteers are taking to the airwaves each week for a radio broadcast aimed at a very special audience.
Now, the volunteers are not professional broadcasters, but the service they provide helps the visually impaired enjoy a routine most of us take for granted.
Reading the daily paper is a ritual for many people, but what about people who are blind or have severe visual limitations?
There is no Braille edition of the Indianapolis News or the Indianapolis Star, but there is the Central Indiana Radio Reading Service.
This is a wasteful, expensive recess that the Republicans have forced upon the citizens of the state, said Phillips of the 8-day recess.
You've probably never heard this radio station. You need a special radio to receive it. But every morning and every afternoon, volunteers read the newspaper to print handicapped people listening from home.
We close out this segment with Indiana Black History by Lynn Ford. Early black newspapers provided a minority voice.
Many of the nearly 500 listeners were once able to read the daily paper.
Due to age or illness, they've lost the ability to read the newspaper, and maybe they've been avid newspaper readers all their lives. Now they can't, and we provide it for them, and they're very grateful to that.
We move on now to sports. Fans' power remains limited in the baseball lockout.
Nearly 100 volunteers work a few hours a month reading from the paper. Very few of them are professional speakers.
Just when you think boxing's credibility couldn't get any lower, scum like Don King take it down another notch.
Most of the volunteers in the morning tend to be retirees. Readers for the afternoon paper come from all professions and ages. Both of these volunteers enjoy the contribution they're making to the community.
I've received a good deal in my life, so I think I owe something there. Secondly, it's a good activity to keep me busy in retirement. It's a good, solid, regular activity. And thirdly, I enjoy it tremendously.
Well, the world has been very good to me, and I need to put a little bit back into it at this age. And I feel like I have good eyes, and I have a fairly good voice, and I can help someone that can't see to enjoy a little bit of what's going on in the world today.
6 minutes after 10 o'clock tomorrow morning at this time, we'll have some letters to the editor. Stocks closed sharply.
Only a small fraction of the visually impaired have the special radios to receive this service. For more information, you can contact the Central Indiana Radio Reading Service at Butler University. But if you're interested in auditioning to volunteer for the service or helping with another community effort in Central Indiana, call one of these two numbers to get in touch with the WRTV 6 Volunteer Connection.
It seems like the weather is getting a little bit better.
Now let's check in with Dave James to see if the last few days of February will be halfway decent.
Well, it looks like we'll have some ups and, unfortunately, some downs also in the forecast. That's not coming up till next month, but that's only a couple days away. Well, we'll check that forecast anyway, just a minute.
People's new Percentage Plus Fund. For a limited time, paying 10% on deposits of $5,000 or more. Higher interest? You can get there from here.
The Big Zero. That's the finance charge at Highland for 1 full year on everything. From audio and video to home office equipment and